my density. I think he stole his wallet. Yeah.
Because I would really like a couple of emails that I can ignore. I mean, I would. Paul will read them.
So they come back and Travis is gone. Not Dozier, Walter. All right, hey, what's up, guys? This is Gentleman No Class back in action.
I think so.
With, I guess, a new member, permanent member.
Yeah, things have changed.
Things have changed, but it's for the
For
best.
the better.
Yes. I am Jake.
I am Paul.
I'm Rob.
Rob style.
And we've been absent
That's
for
what
quite
my
some
name
time.
is on the mixer.
Yes, I'm good.
Oh, nice. Rob style.
Just in case we forget, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it'll show that way when I send him the files. We're recording in new digs.
All right, new
digs.
digs.
Oh, yeah.
Digs.
But yeah, we've been absent for quite some time, and I always say that it's not going to be like that anymore. We're going to be a little bit more uniform, but I mean,
life has a way of getting in the way.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But we would like to be a little bit more uniformed from this point on.
I want to smoke a cigarette.
Someone's still viewing the Facebook.
God damn.
And we're getting some hits on that, some clicks.
Did you
on
quit?
Facebook?
Did you quit smoking?
Mm-mm.
No.
I just feel like just like Art Bell from Coast to Coast AM.
You just want to smoke in the studio
and talk,
and ruin all the electronics. Way to go, dick!
How does that ruin?
That doesn't ruin it.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Cigarette smoke. Have you ever taken apart a computer?
This
somebody
is
smoked in their house.
Haven't you heard of the 1970s?
Haven't you heard of like?
No. Just forget it. I'm right. You're wrong.
Do you still smoke?
I don't care.
I quit smoking.
I don't care that you know more than me. I know things.
Yeah. Paul,
what?
you're the only one.
That's
man.
what I do. I drink and I know things.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Hey, whoa, you calling me out?
Nah,
you smoke every now and then. I know it's a filthy habit. Whatever.
It's all right. It's all right.
I mean, don't tell my wife.
Don't tell my wife.
Don't listen to this, right?
Beer and air.
I don't have a wife,
but
so I can't tell.
With the new podcast, the new version of just Gentleman No Class that we're going to be pushing forward, it's going to be a new aspect to it. We're going to be doing the show a little differently, a little bit more candid, I believe.
Yeah, I think we're going to do,
we weren't
instead
before?
of trying to script out script out the podcast, we're just going to have some random...
I don't think we ever did that, did we?
Well, we kind of had a general idea of what we're going to do. So sometimes we had a theme. We're not going themes anymore.
We're just
going to do random. And, if you're listening to the podcast and you think of something you may want us to put on the randomized list of themes that we're going to pick for the night, which get picked at the beginning of the podcast. We haven't picked the one for this one yet, so we're improvising. So
right,
so.
Yeah.
Send us a theme, and we'll add it to the list. If it's stuff like if where's your stance, Edison, asshole or dickhead?
I like that. That's a good one.
I did 2 contributions, but that was my best one.
That was a good one.
That was pretty good. I like that.
I laughed out loud at work. It was pretty funny.
Like, Rob, why are you LOLing? What the hell?
LOL.
Yeah.
No, I saw it as soon as I got the email you sent it to us. I was like, I gotta add something, and then
that was what it was for.
Thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Add stuff to it.
Yeah, I figured we all could see it, so that's why I did it. And
that's exactly why I did that.
I had to drive, so I couldn't do it anymore. I had to stop. Only could do 2.
So the aspect of this podcast is that we have these ideas, and we're going to do pull out 1, 2, and
I think
randomly.
I think we just do one and then talk about it until we run out of room to talk about it, and then we'll pull another one until we hit our our time allotment.
That sounds like you talking about are we going to run out of like disk space or something? Like,
well, I mean, I don't know what.
What's the allotted time here, guys?
I don't know. I've recorded. I mean, I can record a band for 3 hours and it's like 20 gigs, and I got a 250 gig hard drive. So
nice,
gig, you loser.
Go to a gig.
You sound like my grandfather. You got a gig, Paul. I know what it is. Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's going to be exciting, I believe.
Yeah. But also, aren't we going to do a review of Spider-Man: Homecoming? Though that's for sure.
Yeah,
right?
that's for sure.
And
it'll be
your what's called your Harley investment into watching the movie, right? Because of certain
investment
things, right?
into watching the movie, but
commitment.
I didn't pull for
the
the lounge chairs or anything like that, or the IMAX version of it, which has probably been out for a couple of weeks. It's not going to have an IMAX showing. So it wasn't a huge. It was a matinee version too. It wasn't a huge investment.
So you went to the dollar
when I say
theater.
investment, when I say investment, I'm talking about you paying attention and watching a movie without interruptions.
Exactly.
Because you told us.
Well, yeah,
earlier.
But work got in the way.
Okay, you said it.
So.
Way to call him out, dude.
I'm not calling him out. I'm telling you that's what you needed to say.
No, I meant calling out like his work people.
I didn't know.
No, I called it out. It's
I wanted him to do it.
All right, so the movie was ruined, and I didn't get to watch too much of it. So my review is going to be absent. I'm not going to have a review on
man.
this.
Whatever bit parts you got, I want to hear. And we will fill We'll fill the blanks.
It was one of those Comic-Con deals. It's like I was kind of stressed out and my heart wasn't into it anymore. So I kind of blurred everything out. It was really irritating. So the review that you guys are throwing at me, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna catalog it in my memory bank here.
Did you at least see the ending?
No.
Well, damn,
I left early. I left.
How far in the movie?
I mean, I was honestly like after the trailer that was blowing up my phone, and I bailed.
The trailer?
Yeah,
you didn't even see.
And I came back in, and I was just in and out. So,
fuck, man.
Yeah.
Call yourself a moviegoer?
Man,
fuck,
yeah,
man.
I know. And I told my job that I'm not working any more weekends anymore because it's like why have a day off during the week if I'm working,
Right, yeah.
So,
that's what I said to my job, yeah. Oh, yeah, I quit my job, people. I quit my job to do the podcast full-time.
Full-time podcaster.
Full-time podcaster, yeah, that's right. I said, hey, you, Craig.
Get your damn hands off.
Yeah. Nice.
That's a good one. I like that. You tell
it's my density.
Density.
I think he stole his wallet. Yeah.
I think he stole his wallet. Yeah. That's awesome.
No. My boss is cool. My boss is my ex-boss. His name is Craig, but technically he wasn't really my boss anymore. It was somebody else. I'm not going to say any names, but either way, no, he was my former boss. He's truly my former boss, but at the time he was my former boss, and I had somebody else that took over, and I'm not going to mention that name.
Got you.
Either way, he was cool with it, and I told him, I want to work on my music and my acting full time, and this job is not making me any happier, and I was promised a raise, many months ago, and it's a long story. Either way, I'm a lot happier on my own, and I'm actually making money doing the same thing on my dad's business, and same line of work, making like triple the amount an hour. And just little short-term jobs here and there, and I could focus on my music and acting and my podcasting, I guess. Apparently,
yeah.
So,
we'll get more into that later.
Yeah. Okay,
definitely.
Because I have a lot of shit talking to do. I'm not done yet. I'm very light.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about my work though, ex-work.
Oh, okay.
I don't care anymore. I don't work for them.
We'll have a work vent session.
Yeah, I really don't care. I will say the company. I'll say it right now. Black Box Network Services.
Okay. We're going there?
I don't care. I don't give a shit. I work for them.
We are there.
Fuck them. Fucking cocksuckers.
You didn't sign an NDA or anything?
No, hell no. Fuck no. They can give a shit about my letter of resignation either. They didn't even tell me.
Did they call you in for a
exit interview? No. My actual boss too. She didn't even tell me hey, goodbye. Or I really appreciate blah blah blah.
Really?
Nothing. It was only my former boss. He was nice. He was cool. He took we went to lunch. He bought me lunch, and we said our proper goodbyes. And him and my two other coworkers
before you left.
Basically, yeah. They're
belt looping.
No,
serious question.
Him and my other coworkers. They're the only ones that matter to me anyway.
Serious question.
They're the ones that say goodbye to me. So
your former boss, which is now when you quit, your new boss.
Yeah.
What was the time length of
it wasn't that long. Well,
months,
see, the thing
years?
is, I work with her on and off for 5 years. The 5-6 years I've been there, but I had to fully report to her for about a month, or no, almost 2 months.
Oh, okay.
And within those 2 months, I rarely saw her or talked to her, and it's just a weird relationship, and I don't know, and there's just so many bad things about her.
Right.
I'm not gonna get details about that, but either way, It was no different with me. It was the same treatment as to former employees I spoke to and still speak to this day.
Yeah.
And they warned me ahead of time. that is not a person you want to work with. And
sucks.
as a quote, like my friend texted me the first day, my official day off, whatever, or just free. He's like, so how's it feel to be free from the shackles of the devil? You know, that's practically that's what it is. You know,
Jesus.
yeah, it's bad. Yeah, she's very condescending, and yeah, that's not a person you want to work with. But
over the line.
yeah, maybe we could talk about it a little bit more later on.
Maybe
I'll have a few more. I don't give a shit. Like I said, I don't work for them. Like if you didn't catch it before, Black Box Network Services is the company I used to work for. Fuck them. They're worthless. If you ever get an opportunity to work with them, hey, don't do it. I don't give a shit how promising it is. Don't fucking work with them. They don't give a fuck. Well, that's like a lot of companies, but I could tell you firsthand, since I did work with them, don't work with them. No, it's not worth it.
Well, I
guess
think
we're never
all
getting sponsorships from them.
Yeah, they're not.
Oh, speaking
no
of which,
money
I
rolling
wanna
in that way.
Yeah, I want to do a commercial because we gotta get paid, right? So I want to say that Little Caesars, you know, pay us money because I'm mentioning you right now. We just had some.
Oh, yeah,
That's it.
That was our dinner.
Shiner Beers also.
Shiner
Yeah,
Beers,
Shiner,
yes.
Shiner, help us out. Yeah,
All
Yeah,
around.
send us some money for
Yeah.
know.
You know, also, you know, Sony, MacBook Air, you know.
This shit ain't
And-
cheap.
oh, yeah, no.
Red Solo
Sure.
cups.
Yeah, oh, help us out. Anything. Come on.
Yeah.
You know how it is. Like, people do their little breaks. Like, Bill Burr, if you listen to Bill Burr's
Yeah, I know.
podcast, like, he does a little break. It does his,
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
they approach him.
Right. Well, of
approach-
course,
yeah,
they
exactly.
right. But he does that because, he's getting paid by them, so he does the commercial break. And he
Oh
does-
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's-
it's
if they were
given.
paying,
It's-
if
it's-
they send us some money or some free
Yeah.
shit, you know, I'll suck their dick on the air. I
There
don't
you
give
go.
a fuck.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're not, because you're not going to hear these
Oriel.
like these like fat podcasters representing organic food unless they get paid and it happens. Like Kevin Smith, they're talking about like Blue Apron and
oh yeah. Well, Kevin
Damn.
Smith doesn't talk about that.
Oh yeah,
Mark Bernard
does.
Who?
He's the one.
Mark
that talks,
Bernard?
Mark
Bernard?
Bernardin.
Yeah,
He does.
That's a name I shouldn't say either. Whoops. Don't edit that out. I don't
Yeah.
care. He looks like Mr. Burns, by the way.
Okay.
He works for HP.
Okay.
I don't care. I don't fucking care. I'm going off the rails.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
don't
On a
work for
crazy
them.
train.
Yeah. I work for myself. I'm a
There
freelancer.
you
Go
go.
fuck
All
themselves.
right.
They
All
should
right.
have took care of me.
Yes, sir.
So first order of business.
First order
Spider-Man: Homecoming. Paul, you saw it.
Yes, I did.
When did you see it?
I saw it about 3 weeks. Whenever it was, like maybe a week after it came out.
Okay,
Wasn't that very
I saw
long.
it opening night. So it's
Yeah.
been a while since I've seen it. But
Same here.
okay, gut reaction. What's your gut reaction?
Okay.
Versus if you had to compare it to.
Okay. Well, see, the thing is, like, gut reaction, but also too, like, I saw. Well, it was probably a mistake. I saw a video like talking about the diversity in the movie,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh man, here we go with this crap again. Everything's gonna be diversified. All this, we gotta please the small population, whatever.
Right.
So I was kind of hesitant about seeing it, but like the video comments and makes, actually they do it a good job as far as like diversity and whatnot in the movie. It's not like too shoved in your face, and it's fine. The characters play well. And I thought it was overall. I enjoyed it. I was laughing. I thought it was cool. Like he's, a little more appropriate for the age. I'm not that big in the comics, but I know he's just younger.
Yeah.
But his age, Tobey Maguire, I still like those. I
Tobey
really
Maguire
do.
was like 45 years old
Yeah.
when Spider-Man came
Right.
out. Andrew
I still-
Garfield was better, but
Yeah, I don't. He's okay. I don't think he's that good of an actor.
I
but
don't.
he's
no,
not
I'm just-
terrible. I just don't. Well, I didn't really like those, but this one, I forgot the kid's name.
Tom Holland.
Okay, he did a good. I thought he did a
I
good
thought
job.
he did
I
a
liked
great
it.
job.
I loved it actually. I was enjoying it all the way through. It was not. I don't think there's that much filler. It was every scene, everything was meant to be, and
Yeah.
it had its reasoning. And
I think I like the way that even though we know standing on the outside that there was a big deal with Sony trying to get with Marvel trying to get Spider-Man from Sony.
Yeah.
And he was kind of thrown in last minute into Civil War.
Yeah.
But the way that they wrote this script for Homecoming and the way that it fit into the Marvel universe, I mean, pure genius. The way that they were able to take the events of the Marvel universe, not having known when they wrote this script, knowing that Spider-Man was going to come into it, and were able to adapt a known Spider-Man villain into that,
yeah.
or multiple Spider-Man villains into it, and they fit perfect.
Yeah, the transition was great.
Yeah, it was great. Michael Keaton,
as
the
I
Vulture,
love Michael Keaton.
When you look at the Vulture as a character in that movie, he's a scavenger. He's scavenging, parts.
As a vulture,
as a vulture. But it's not like he's meant to be. It's not like he made a costume to look like a vulture.
Right.
It's very functional in the way that he has to use it.
Yeah.
It does look like a bird, obviously, because it has wings. He doesn't have a jetpack, but the claws to pick things up and carry them out of there. Things like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was genius the way that they were able.
Yeah,
to
it wasn't too.
it
wasn't too forced or made too obvious.
No,
that, I'm
wasn't.
No,
and
the
plot twist in the movie.
Yeah, fuck. Which one was it?
Spoiler alert: 3, 2. Take your headphones off.
No, he's gonna hear it.
Yeah. Fuck you.
You're already committed. He committed already. Yeah.
So when he goes, when Peter Parker goes over to her house to pick her up for the prom, and Michael Keaton ends up being her fucking father. He opens up the door. You're like, what the.
Yeah, that reminds me of an episode of Third Rock from the Sun, but not the same thing, but almost the same thing. Nice. Sorry, that's what it reminded me of. But that was a good twist, and then I liked the conversation I had too.
Oh,
and
in
was
the
very
car,
calm in the car. I thought it was a really good movie, and I was kind of weary about the whole social justice warrior bullshit and the diversity and all that crap. And it's like I'm sick of but. I remember the guy in the video. He made a good point, as to why they would have diversity, because it's set in, I believe, in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
and it makes sense in the setting and the environment.
Queens, I think, actually.
Is it Queens? Okay, I'm
Queens.
Sorry. Yeah,
Captain America's from Brooklyn.
Right. Okay. Well, then it would make sense to have such a diverse cast and so much those kind of characters because of that because of where they're located at. So that made a lot of sense. But I said, it didn't feel like it was too shoved down your throat like certain movies do, and I just can't stand that shit. And it was well done. I enjoyed it.
I think it was diverse because they wanted it to be diverse, but you couldn't tell that they wanted it to be diverse. It felt like a real. I mean, going in as a comic book fan, you go in there imagining the characters that you've seen, your whole life that you grew up with. You want to see Flash Thompson as a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, 6'3" white guy, But the fact that they set it in high school, and the character the guy that they got to play Flash Thompson was so quintessential Flash Thompson from the comic books, just a bully to Peter Parker, all in his face. But he's the bully because he's jealous of him and he can't measure up to him. Yeah. And that kid, I don't know who he was. He was an Indian kid, but he measured up. I mean, he was exactly that character. The scene at the house party where he's the DJ. Yeah. I mean, that is so something a fucking high school kid would do to another high school kid.
But what I liked about it too, it wasn't too it didn't seem like it was that cliched either. The way he was bullying him.
It wasn't.
Just seemed like it was just for his character and what they're going for. It was perfect. It wasn't like an exact replica of what the the version from the comics would do probably. Yeah. But seeing how they did it and how they handled it, I liked it.
I did too.
But that being said, it's just it wasn't forced. It wasn't we have to diversify, blah blah. You could tell when they're trying too hard versus this is fitting. This makes sense. This environment and this location, whatever it is, it's just. It is what it is, and it goes well. It's not forced, and you can tell when that's not genuine. That's crap.
Yeah,
and it's just trying too hard, and it's just awful. But it wasn't like that at all.
No,
so
it wasn't.
It was great.
And there were some really great points in the movie.
Sony redeemed themselves, really.
From
Ghostbusters.
I think that Sony.
I'm serious.
Best thing that Sony ever did was let Marvel take Spider-Man and run with it, and I mean the movie's fantastic. I mean, it has so many plot elements that you wanted to see in Spider-Man. He's in high school. He doesn't know how to use it. I like the fact that he's not super graceful all the time. I like the fact that he's swinging around and misses and
it shows him he fucks up and he's not perfect.
Yeah,
I like that.
He fucks up a lot. He falls when he's skidding across he's skidding across a rooftop.
Right.
I mean he's not perfect. It shows he doesn't have his spider sense yet. It shows that. It shows some other things in there like the mentorship between Tony and him.
Yeah, which is great.
The whole
the
the way that they worked it in, it was almost flawless. I mean, it felt a little forced, but I mean, Iron Man wasn't in the whole movie, which was great. He was only in there when he needed him to be.
Yeah, like in films or whatever whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, like the
school films.
I like that. I like that at the beginning with the home handheld recorder aspect of the. This is how he got to where he was. There was no backstory. Yeah. You don't know what happened. I mean, we all know what happened to Uncle Ben, but we don't see it. The most reference you get to it is he's walking down the sidewalk with his chubby Indian buddy.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's like, so you got bit by a radioactive spider? He's like, yes. Well, where's the spider's dead. Yeah. Leave it alone.
Right.
Like, and that's it. That's the only thing they say about
nothing
it.
Else. That's great. Yeah, and quick
because
to the
we've
point.
seen it. We've seen it in 2 other franchises in this movie.
So they don't want to bore the audience by doing that, which is perfect. Which serves
it served its total purpose.
Yeah,
like the whole Tony Stark and Peter Parker. If you're nothing, he's like, but I'm nothing without this suit. He goes, if you're nothing without it, you don't deserve it in the first place.
Yeah,
and then he goes out there and fucking kicks ass without the goddamn suit anyway.
Oh,
and
nice.
then Tony's like, oh, I didn't mean for that to happen, but that was just the kind of like tough love thing that you need to push you over the edge. And then at the end, he presents him with the Iron Spider gear and he's gonna go, which was a interesting side note, sidetrack real quick. So in the Civil War comic books, that was the whole big deal, is that all the superheroes were unmasking.
Yeah,
and Iron Man convinced Spider-Man was kind of the fulcrum back and forth between Captain America and Iron Man in the comics. Tony convinced Spider-Man to show the world that he was Peter Parker. Yeah. He convinced him at a press conference to take his mask off and say, and then he saw what that led to, and he switched sides. Like he didn't believe, that kind of. So that was kind of the catalyst between the two of them. As the Civil War comic
he didn't take
went on.
the suit either, which is just...
Which he didn't. At the end of the movie, he doesn't take the suit.
Yeah.
But it's a setup. It's a setup for Infinity War.
Yeah.
So, because he's going to need it.
Right.
And another cool side note is Iron Man's Jarvis protocol that runs his Iron Man suit is voiced by Paul Bettany, who's now the Vision.
Yeah.
So, his wife is Jennifer Connelly, who is the voice of the AI protocol in Spider-Man's suit.
Yeah, somebody told me that. Yeah. Raph, actually,
Career opportunities.
Yeah.
Nice.
But no, I was going to say, because I don't really follow the comics too much, but I was wondering, where's Harry Osborn in all this?
So Harry Osborn in the comics is kind of a back and forth kind of deal. Yeah. Like, he's friends with Peter. So he comes to Midway. Midway's like a STEM school, like a science, technology, math, engineering and math school. It's like that's why they're every kid there is really smart. There's no, like, if you notice in the movie, you're like, all these fucking kids are like really smart. All of them are in like academic decathlon and shit like that. Yeah. It's supposed to be like it's a public school, but it's like they're gifted and talented school. They're gifted and talented high school.
Makes you feel
so
like
Harry Osborn obviously is as smart as his dad, Norman Osborn, and he gets kicked out of all the private schools, so he ends up having to go to Midway High School.
Drunk.
But they don't meet till the end. Oh, they're into their high school.
Oh, okay. Tenure, yeah, because like I said, I don't, I'm not too well with the comics and too informed
Spider-Man
with that.
Was a very well-established hero by the time Harry Osborn and the Green Goblin came into it. I like the way that they did. They brought in the Shocker. They didn't like.
I think it's Logan Green Marshall that played him. That sucked. He didn't last long. He's a good actor too.
Yeah, I liked his character.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, I don't know if you
Logan
caught
Marshall
it.
Green. I forgot.
I don't know if you caught it. The guy that they talked to in prison, and he's like, "Oh, I heard the." Michael
Keaton's towards the end?
Yeah, Michael Keaton's talking to the guy in prison.
Yeah,
and he's like, "I heard you almost took out the Spider-Man. There's a lot of guys in here that were put away by him." And he's talking to him. And he turns his head, and he's got a scorpion tattooed on his neck.
Who's he supposed
Scorpion.
to be? Okay.
So that's I think that'll come,
Damn, I was just disappointed by your character in Spider-Man 2, the Rhino, babe, Giamatti. I wanted to see more Giamatti, man.
Fuck that.
I was enjoying that. That was the only thing I like. The one with Andrew Garfield, like I liked was fucking Giamatti's character. What he could have been. It seemed badass.
The very end scene where he's in that mechanical rhino suit.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted to see.
In the beginning, though, really.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I wanted to
with
see
the
you,
barbed wire
Rob.
tattoo around his forehead.
Rob, I wanted to see more of you is what I'm saying.
Jesus.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, which you probably don't know, well, you should know, though, is Rob looks like Paul Giamatti.
Rob
my
does not
hero.
look like Paul
Yes,
Giamatti.
he does. When he calls me, Paul Giamatti's image is on my phone when he calls me. Like, so it's such a tease and a disappointment every time I answer. It's like, it's not Giamatti, it's Rob.
One day I'm going to meet Paul Giamatti, and I'm going to have him call you from my cell phone.
That'd be bad.
Nice, please. Oh, my fucking day. That'd make my fucking day. I want to work with him one day. He's one of my favorite actors.
He is a good actor.
Not because we're named Paul the same thing.
Whatever. You keep telling yourself that.
Yeah. No, he's a great fucking actor.
Freaking
great one.
whatchamacallit?
Jacob, what do you want to comment? Like, you haven't said
thanks,
shit.
Thanks for ruining
you and your Pompero over here. You haven't said shit. Fucking after shift pump. Yeah.
Hey, Rob, if you don't mind.
Hey.
Yeah, another one, please, sir. But no, you guys spoiled the movie for me.
Well, you said yes. So based on what we said,
you
like,
went to the fucking movie theater to see it, cock, and you didn't watch it.
Yeah, dick.
Hey, I have a mortgage.
I don't. So just to let you know. Huh? How's that make you feel, huh?
No.
Way to rub that shit in.
That way. No, I
Top me off, Pally, maybe?
Top me off, Pally. No, it sounds like an awesome movie, and I can't wait to like.
I really did like it, man.
Sit back and enjoy it.
I thought it was good. Damn, silence. Sit back and then just silence is golden. Yeah, but inside joke. Yeah.
Rob loves those inside jokes.
Oh man.
But it sounds sexy.
It is. I thought
one of these days we're
really
gonna
is
make
good.
one of these days we're gonna make one of the like an online encyclopedia
of
all y'all's inside jokes.
I got
so people can reference them while they're listening.
There we go.
Paul and Jake's Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, kind of had that going with the previous episodes, like just whatever, just. It felt like It's Always Sunny kind of type thing. Like you had to just references from previous episodes and bring
nobody's
them up.
gonna get all these. I mean, you reference fucking movies
that's the thing,
in
though,
passing that nobody's even
that's
seen.
The thing, though. Like you have to listen to the previous. Just don't ruin this for me. God damn it, man. Now it feels like it's not possible. No, he's wrong.
I think it is
possible.
We just have to catalog everything.
That's true. Documentation.
All right. So now that our review of Spider-Man: Homecoming is over.
Yes.
Drum roll, please. We are going to randomly pick a number off the list. As Jacob's dropping pizza all over the floor in the studio.
Ham.
Studio, yeah. How can I help you today?
All right. So I've got a random number generator app. All right. It's labeled 1 through 27. That's how many.
Okay.
That's how many we have on our list thus far. And like I said, anybody listening, if you have ideas you'd like us to discuss.
Yes.
Please feel free to send them to us. If we like them, we'll put them on the list.
Please.
There's all kinds of great ideas on
Topics
there.
of discussion, basically.
My favorite one that's on the list that I really hope gets pulled soon is the discuss a random Wikipedia article.
That's going to be crazy.
I feel like that's going to be a very interesting show.
Yeah.
I knew somebody that would study a random page every day at work. Like, he would tell me that every day he dedicated himself to study one page. Like, damn, man.
All right.
One random page. Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, okay.
Shaking it. 19.
All right. What's number 19?
Maybe I should have my phone.
You got the phone. You look it up.
We're going to have to skip this one.
Oh.
No.
It's a logistical night. I don't know if it'll work.
Calling somebody?
Yeah. This will come up later. I've got to figure out how to make this work. So just in case this comes up again, we're going to cold call somebody on the air and make them talk to us about
I was wondering how you're going to do that. We can do that. We're just going to figure it out.
I've got to figure out how to do it.
There's a way.
Yeah, too soon.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
First episode,
2013.
Guys. Yeah.
Number 2.
Oh, baby. I think that's the Wikipedia one.
Is it?
I think so. Number 2. Discuss your favorite conspiracy theory.
Ooh.
I have a list of conspiracy theories
talcum powder?
for reference.
that hurts. Give myself an Indian burn.
We're rubbing our fingers.
I can hear it.
Okay.
You can't hear it? I heard you. All right, everybody. Yeah, we wanted to do that, Rob. Like if we got big and get like people give talcum powder passed around the crowd and just
and make talcum powder, powder clouds.
Yeah. All right, everybody.
Live.
Everybody's coughing and shit. That's right. You're having a good time. You're coughing.
All right.
I forgot about that whole movement. Sorry. Inside jokes.
Not gonna happen again.
All right. So I'm pulling up this list of
conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories on Wikipedia. So there's a bunch of different categories. Does anybody have
on top of my head?
Hold on. What was the
already?
I'm trying. I gotta think of one.
Discuss our favorite conspiracy.
Ooh, maybe
theory.
I got one.
You got a favorite conspiracy theory, like off the top of your head? All right. Well, let's roll with that.
Go ahead,
who's going first?
Yeah, go, pal.
You go first.
Okay. AboveTopSecret.com. Have you heard of it?
What is it?
AboveTopSecret.com.
AboveTopSecret.com.
Yeah.
That's an awesome
I should have
website.
been a member for like over 10 years by now, but I just
You never registered?
I never
Lazy
registered, man.
No,
Never did.
No, I think
That's
I
a great
So
registered.
you're
website.
not getting conspiracy points.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not
no,
getting
exactly.
rewards.
I'm not getting medals, nothing. No conspiracy award. No.
That's why
It is a great
That's
website,
why
though.
Tom DeLonge is being exacted by the U.S. government
Exactly.
to research aliens.
Exactly. That piece of shit.
Okay, well, it's one of the best conspiracy websites out there. Like it's ranked. I forgot what it is. Like they're pretty high up there as far as like just websites overall. Like in the just
absolutely.
Anyway, there's this one. It's been like archived too, but there's this one guy who calls himself John Teeter, and he this is I don't know how long. Maybe I'm gonna say maybe 2005 or 6. He started appearing on Above Top Secret, claiming he was a time traveler, and his name was John Teeter, and he claimed that he's a time traveler, and he had photographic evidence of that he I forgot he was from the future, and it showed that he actually had photographs of him bending a laser, and it showed him like with a cigar, and then the laser actually bending. And, apparently I'm not too sure about lasers. We can't bend it yet. I don't know if we can now, but at least around the time when it came out, you couldn't.
I don't think you can bend a straight beam of light.
Well, that's what he's claiming. They had to, that's how far in the future he's from. They said they have the capabilities of doing that, and it has a picture, and I've seen it. It looks legitimate. It could be fake, but I don't know.
When did this come out?
Okay, this is like 2000, like I said, 2005 or 6. This is a while back. I mean, it could be maybe a little further back than that because the website's been around. But he would come on for a while, then he would disappear, then reappear, and like a lot of people were asking him a lot of questions, and we're trying to see if he's full of shit or not, and pretty much the conclusion was like after a while he disappeared. Like I don't think he's actually appeared. I forgot how long his whole stint was from like. Like I said, I think it's 2005 is when he started coming on the forums, and then he disappeared maybe like in 2006
Hold
or
on,
7.
so this is all online?
Yes, this is from the conspiracy website, and this guy claims he's an actual time traveler from like the government of his time. I can't remember what time period he comes from, but it's from the future. So, but people started investigating based on what he started telling people and whatnot. I think they came to a conclusion like his story sounds similar to a plot of a book, but people still like I don't know like there was I'm trying to think it's been a while since I looked this up, but I thought it was interesting about this guy, and I always remembered his name and just with his background and what he offered. It was still interesting enough to look into. I don't know if it had something to do like it sounded maybe a little bit with 1984-ish. I think they had like districts. He talked about districts. Kind of sounds like Ultra.
Hunger
What's it called? Hunger Games as well. But this is way well before all that shit.
Peter.
I never watched. I only watched one episode of Hunger Games.
You're gay.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's an episode. That's right.
Yeah, whatever. Shut up. That's what it is. The series, shut the fuck up.
Nice.
Careful with your mic.
But
it's not on the table all the way, by the way. So just
don't
pull it off.
I'm not. Yeah. It's not my Johnson.
I'm just saying.
I'm worried about my fucking Johnson here now.
Johnson.
But I mean, basically that's the summary. That's what I got. I always thought he was
Wang.
Huge wang. Yeah.
I thought he was very interesting, and just the claim that he was a time traveler,
so
and the evidence he provided, and like to my knowledge, like I said, I remember just certain pictures, and he offered insight too.
Have you heard of Stephen Hawking's Party for Time Travelers?
What is it?
No.
Okay, so
party.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, Stephen Hawking threw this huge party at his house. Decoration, food, drinks, everything. Had all this stuff there, and it was a party to welcome time travelers from around whatever time to converge on his house, but he didn't advertise it until the day after the party.
Oh, nice.
Oh, holy shit.
And nobody showed up. So
goes to show time travel's lit or not, yeah.
Now if you're a time traveler, do you go to the party if you don't? It kind of proved his point a little bit. He was if you were a time traveler, if time travel is possible, why wouldn't you go back to the time traveler's party?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, let's call it.
That's interesting. Then
we're gonna have in 5 minutes. We're gonna have a guest, a time traveler's guest. So if this is reaching anybody,
this isn't broadcasted though. Wait,
right.
eventually.
Eventually,
not broadcasted, but it'll be on.
We'll put it on
stream.
the
Whatever,
we'll stream it right now. So
yeah.
it is. What's the day? August 11th.
August 11th, 2017.
2017. Let's call it at 9:50.
Yeah,
9:50 in the evening.
9:50.
I'm not going to give out an address.
No,
Never mind.
Got it right here, baby.
Yeah, but they know. Anybody listening to this can figure out who we are and contact us.
They got to have the capabilities
of.
They can travel time. They can locate us.
Exactly.
That's bullshit.
I'm sure.
If they can't,
that's a good point.
Yeah, if they can't do that, then they're full. They can't fucking time travel. They're full of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck, I don't care what they say. I don't care what kind of technology you possess. You fuck you. So when did he do that? When did Hawking do that?
That was a couple years ago.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
But as far as you would say, if time travel can, be.
Well, how about this? For the future, for the time travelers, just comment on the Gentlemen No Class page on Facebook.
From last year, though.
But you can comment on stuff from last year today.
But it's got to say the date, though.
No, what they really should do is
don't Doc Brown this shit.
No, I'm serious. It does. It can. It says when it's posted.
Oh yeah.
I think somebody. Yeah, I think you can hack that.
I don't care. If you're able to hack it,
try it.
If you can time travel and you're from the future, they'll find. If you can time travel, you can find a way to prove it to us.
I guess you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Find me a
woman.
woman.
It'd be fucking weird if the door, somebody knocked on the door right now and be like,
that'll be awesome.
Yeah, we're talking about it. Technically, they can hear it when we put it up. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but
this reminds me of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I've never seen that.
You've never seen that?
I've never seen it either.
Where he's like.
Isn't Strange Brew kind of similar like that?
There's the one scene in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. He's like, "Where's your dad keep the keys to the jail? At home in the drawer." All right, I'll just have to make sure I go home later and hide them underneath this rock. And then they pick up the rock and the fucking keys there. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Okay, nice.
So it's shit like that, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
All right, Jacob. Conspiracy theory.
Man, I don't like being put on the spot here, man.
You said you knew one before I did.
There's a whole bunch of them, man.
Come on, baby.
Running through my head right now.
Fucking Skeeter Valentine me. Come on.
I know, right? Let's see. Well, obviously it has to be alien related, I think, right?
All right, that's fine. We can go aliens.
No, this is Nick Pearson all over again. I know where you're going with this, you bastard.
That's not really proven at all.
All right,
whatever. Doesn't matter. Still scares the shit out of me, you fucker.
Conspiracy theories are not proven anyway.
All right.
I guess we can go with the whole. They made a movie out of it, Fire in the Sky. I don't know if that's a conspiracy theory or whatnot, but it's alien related for sure.
Travis Walton.
Yeah, exactly. Travis Walton was abducted in Snowflake, Arizona. They are some lumberjacks. They have a government contract in Snowflake, and they're clearing out this field. And on the way home, they see this red light in the sky. And what's his name?
What?
No, not Travis Walton, but his friend, Mike Rogers.
Yeah.
He's driving his crew back home, and they want him to pull over to see this fire, and it's a spaceship. Well, Travis Walton decides to go,
what's going on here?
Yeah, he can just go comical on this and just, go out in the field and come take me or, whatever. This is awesome.
Take me down.
And
yeah.
I guess if it shines a light, he gets, he's elevating in the air, and everybody freaks out. They leave him there. They come back for him 10 minutes later. He's
it's like
gone.
Flight of the Navigator shit.
Is that a movie?
Maybe.
Get the fuck out of here. Are you serious right now?
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen it. No.
Oh my god. That's a future episode. Okay, keep going.
Let's see. Paul, did you want to interrupt me?
No,
I'm waiting for it.
I just want to bite the mic. Leave me alone.
So they come back and Travis is gone. Not Dozier, Walter. This is one of my
Jesus,
friends.
man, I know.
Name dropping here.
Yeah.
But
whatever.
I felt that it was fitting to
I want to say
name
that so bad, yeah.
drop
Nothing
right
to do with anybody.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
But he's gone, and I think he's gone for about 2 weeks. I mean, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
In the course of this 2 weeks, they're being interrogated by the police. They think it's a homicide. Where's your friend?
Yeah.
They end up doing this lie detector test, and they pass. The whole crew, they all passed, and they said that he was abducted. They feel that he was abducted, and of course, the city doesn't believe it. And then Travis shows up. I think they might have done 2 lie detector tests, I believe.
Well, no, see, they think they just did the one at the time, and
they might have done one in the future afterwards.
Yeah,
right?
they did later. They did years later, like with better technology.
Thanks
they
for clearing
still
that up.
passed.
Yeah,
yes.
still passed. Well, Travis comes
crazy.
back. And he's naked in like a phone booth, and he calls Mike Rogers, and they come and pick him up, and they call like these UFO researchers, and they do tests on him and everything, and pretty much he still claims to this day that he was abducted. And the last 10 minutes of that movie, and I recommend, it's one of the best sci-fi alien movies out there, better than the James Cameron deal.
What the scary thing is, it's based on a true story.
Based on a true
this
story.
Isn't science fiction.
And Alien, James Cameron, Aliens. I'm not knocking that. I like it too.
Don't you get me?
Yeah, but definitely check that out. Last 10 minutes of that movie, it's thrilling. It's scary. I think, and he's still alive here, and he still says that he was abducted, and he's not budging. And I don't know. I like to think I believe him. But I mean, who knows? And abduct me.
Abduct me.
Abduct
you
me.
fucking abduct. I thought you're like a text.
Huh?
I thought you're like texting, like duck me. Yeah, you fucking.
Oh, like duck. Oh yeah,
yeah.
Duck me. No,
yeah,
abduct
ducking,
me. No, abduct me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
all
think
of
you
us.
want that.
What if
Nah,
we walk
I'm
out
good.
And we're in the ship right now.
I got shit to do
This is
tomorrow. I want to get abducted. Fucking crazy.
All right, so Rob
Busy
style.
man.
I'm gonna go old school. I'm gonna go Area 51. I'm gonna go Roswell crash.
Oh, there you go. I like that.
I do believe that there was an extraterrestrial crash at Area 51.
Ultra Twin Peaks.
Oh, really? Okay.
I thought Twin Peaks were vampires.
Get out of here. What?
I thought there were vampires on Twin Peaks.
What?
I thought it was a restaurant
Fuck
with
no.
some boobies.
Jesus
they were
Christ.
fucking
I'm
vampires.
appalled by the both of yous.
No,
I've
Okay.
never seen the show, so forget it. We'll
I
talk,
didn't give it-
we'll talk
I
about that a
didn't
little
give it
Oh,
a
later.
spin.
that's another show.
I didn't
Okay.
give it a spin.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
that has nothing to do with
There
fucking
has
vampires.
there has been, if you
Oh
go
my
back,
God.
there has there's been people that have they've gone and they've pulled the newspaper clippings from like the day after, and it is clear. I mean, multiple people corroborate this story that it was a crashed flying saucer. Now, whether or not it was a flying saucer or whatever, it was
In Roswell, you mean.
in Roswell.
Right.
It was a crashed flying saucer. There's been the general on site. The first general on site gave a statement that it was a flying saucer shortly after he was claimed he was misquoted, even though multiple different sources from different news outlets had the exact same quote. Shortly after that, the government swoops in, they cover it up. Alien landing confirms the existence of extraterrestrials. If you look, I think the biggest piece of proof is not a physical piece of evidence to say here's a flying saucer or an alien dick or whatever just sitting around.
Beautiful.
I think that
Beautiful,
the best proof is if you listen to the theory that technology doubles every 6 months.
Yeah.
So if you look at that scale,
That was every 3 years. It matures every 3 years or something like that.
But I
something
remember
like
we were
that.
discussing this.
anyway,
at
it's
the party,
it's exponential.
Yeah.
So it's a clear graph of how much
Yeah.
computing power you can have in the way technology advances.
Yeah.
So if you start at the horse and buggy, let's just start at the horse and buggy and go to the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
I mean, it was a forced manual. It was hard to get from horse and buggy to the Industrial Revolution. Was tough to get from the Industrial Revolution to 1950. Was even tougher. That was a big jump in technology, but it really wasn't that big. I mean, if you look at what was happening, what they discovered in the 40s, I mean, the things that were going on, cars were, they were kind of all right. They were getting better.
Yeah.
There was still no microprocessors. There was still no processing, no computers really to speak of or anything like that. But all of a sudden, 1951, the graph skyrockets.
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden, you start getting things like transistors, semiconductors, microprocessors, silicon chips, things start building exponentially from there. And it just keeps going and going and going and going and going.
Yeah.
And I feel like all that stuff was reverse engineered.
Yeah.
Or if not reverse engineered, like at least the idea of what could be possible was found at that crash site.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like some of the things that they had probably on those ships that allow them to, travel without propulsion and travel through space and, probably faster. I don't think faster than light travel is possible, but
you never know what they had.
Some kind of wormhole traveling.
Yeah.
Space bending thing.
Right.
Maybe
their
possible.
bodies are could withstand a lot more than we could.
And they could have had the technology to push that, and they could have things made of elements that aren't found on Earth.
Yeah.
In any kind of natural form. That are impossible to create on Earth.
Yeah.
So I think that like that's where. I mean, when you think about it, in the 40s and stuff, we were still using vacuum tubes, and things like that.
Well, if you think about it, man, we were on that horse and wagon for hundreds and thousands of years.
Hundreds of thousands,
exactly.
I mean, not thousands of years, but hundreds of years.
What I mean? But and then at the tail end of that era, if you were to tell the Joe Schmo there, like, in 60 years, we're going to put somebody on the moon, that's another conspiracy theory, I guess you could say.
Yeah, yeah, right.
But, I mean, if you think about it, the technology advanced so much, they're going to laugh at your face. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, I mean, if you go from 1951, the microwave, I think, was invented in 1955. If you go from the invention of the microwave to landing a man on the fucking moon in 12 years.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? That's a big jump in fucking technology.
And if you say that landing on the moon is a conspiracy theory, okay, but you still had like nuclear warheads and everything.
Like you're directing him like he said.
Well, I'm pointing at both of you guys. No.
What's your stand? Do you think we landed on the moon?
I think we did.
I think we did.
I know Paul and I had this conversation.
Well, if anything, I think we did, but I don't think we did
later
when we said when we did.
It was just a race war.
Because the benefit because the reason why because of the war between us and Russia. Or USSR at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's honestly.
Soviet Union.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that would be to me. That'd be the only credible reason why we would fake it, just because of the whole space race.
Or would you say that we didn't have the technology at the time to land on the moon?
Possibly, yeah. That's why. And then
but we had the technology to. Are you saying that we went? Did we ever go to space at all?
No. I'm saying we did. We know we did. But at the time, we said we did
land on the moon.
We did it. We actually did it later on. It was just say, hey, fuck you. We're.
So let me ask you. So let me ask you a question. What? If
no, I'm just saying. I'm not saying it was impossible. I'm just saying at the time.
I disagree with that. I think that at the time the technology was totally plausible, totally possible. I don't think the technology was proven. I think if that was happening today, it would have been delayed for safety issues. We wouldn't have pushed it so fast or pushed it so hard. But I think you had the top minds in the country reverse engineering some really critical alien technology that led us. I think that the technology that they said that they used to get there was not what was actually on those ships. I think that the shit that was on there was probably a lot more advanced than they let us believe. That's why the shit is still on the fucking moon.
Yeah. Have you heard of Project Paperclip?
No.
It's when after World War II, we arrested a bunch of Nazi scientists and engineers, and we instead of like taking them for war crimes, I could be, I'm slightly paraphrasing a little bit. we brought them over here and let them continue their work. And they say they're part of that the space program, I believe, too, and a lot of other technology advances. As we know, I can't cite exactly, but look it up. It's interesting.
Huh? Okay, I'll give that a read.
So fuck Nazis, right? Yeah. No, I'm not supporting Nazis. I'm just saying that's crazy. As much as like, hey, fuck them, but like this weird operation that they did, they brought them over here. Like I think
that at the end of World War II. So at the end of World War II, they're sitting at the table, and you've got all these great countries sitting around this table, and you've got the Allied powers. You've got U.S. You've got Russia. You've got Great Britain. You've got France, Germany. Everybody sitting around this table, and they're like, okay, Germany, you fucked this all up. What are we going to do? So who has the biggest set of brass at that table? The U.S., obviously. They have the most clout. They dropped 2 fucking nuclear bombs on Japan.
Yeah.
Which goes into a whole nother conspiracy theory about how they did that.
America.
Damn. Ultra Twin Peaks, by the way, too, man. I'm just God damn, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So
it's
that sitting in that situation, going based off of that, you've got all these people sitting around. The U.S. is going to sit there and be like, we don't have the we are. I think by the time those nuclear bombs fell, the atomic bombs fell in Japan, the U.S. was basically bankrupt. I mean, there was no way we could.
Well, because
I think that's
we're also
why
coming out
we
of the depression. That's
I think that's why we dropped those bombs in the first place. We were like, we've got to end this shit now, or it's going to be, we can't keep this up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There had to be a tipping point, and so we were like, fuck it, and we dropped the 2. We get Japan to surrender. Hitler's already dead long dead for, a week or 2 at that point.
There's not a conspiracy. I kind of do. We'll go into that.
We can go into
yeah. Well, so, as much as Mein Führer, also Simpsons, by the way.
At that point, you've got, who do you have in power? You've got Russia, they shed the most blood by far of any country in World War II. They gave up the most men. So you've got Russia that's like, hey, we did all of this, and we need some compensation. So that's where you get the expansion of Russia after World War II into East Germany. And, they're like, we're going to control this. Britain's going to control this part of it. We're going to make sure this shit doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
So the U.S. has to walk away from the table at that point. I'm sure they're not happy about it, because they would like to be in control of something, but it's not their fucking it's not our fucking continent. It's not our, it's like the Germans and the Japanese drug us into this conflict. They started the fight. We fucking ended it. Y'all sorted out, we're gone.
Yeah.
So, but at that point, the U.S. is looking at Russia, and they're like, this is going to be a fucking problem, because we've seen the shit that they're willing to let their citizens suffer through in the name of war.
Yeah.
And in the name of advancing this country. So, if I was the leader of the United States at that point, you're goddamn right. Nazi scientists that were not necessarily Nazis, but forced into work by the Nazis, or in that line of work already before the war. I'd grant them asylum to come over and finish work on whatever they're
it was
working
still
on.
They had like war crimes on them, but they pretty much, like you said, they pardoned
were
them
forced to work.
I don't know. I gotta look into it again, because I don't think that's necessarily true. But I could be paraphrasing. I don't want to say it's but still, either way, look into it. I want to look back into it, because I remember reading it a while back. I just can't remember. But I thought that was interesting to bring it up. But just certain things like that. And then did you know Hitler was the first one to bring the anti-smoking campaign? Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
That's fucking crazy. He's like one of the worst people. He was one of the first people to promote anti-smoking.
He was a vegetarian, and
there's a lot of interesting things about the guy. I know the guy's a piece of shit, but whatever. Like, there's just things about him like you cannot acknowledge. Like, it's just, how do you not acknowledge that? Especially.
Well, there's that leads you into another conspiracy theory that most of the world's greatest leaders are either they're all related back through you can relate the Bush family, all the way through the Rothschilds, Hitler.
I was going way off, but
Charlemagne, all the way back through all the great kings of the world.
Yeah,
all disseminate from the bloodline of Jesus Christ.
Right. Yeah, I think I heard of that. I thought you were gonna say like also
there's a book, a really good. It's a really hard read because it's not written very well, but the theory.
Then Raph wrote it.
We need to get Raph in here to finish our Raph Reads the Classics series.
We'll do it.
So it's kind of a hard read, but it's called Holy Grail, something like that, and it talks about like the Romance languages, y'all. I mean, so in Spanish, it talks about like holy blood would be the difference in pronunciation of sangreal and sangreal, like holy blood and holy grail, how it could have been, because a lot of it was oral communication, like things could have been mistaken.
Right. Lost in translation.
Instead of, a holy cup that held the life of Christ.
Yeah.
It was his actual blood.
Right. Well, they also say that could be possibly for the Bible as well, mistranslated as well.
Yeah,
from
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because there were so many different languages. The Dead Sea Scrolls have there's a lot of theory that Jesus, when he rose from the dead, ascended into heaven, and then came back to live his life as a man and preach, and married and had children.
Right.
And that's there's a lot of. There's a lot of dissemination from that.
Well, I was going to talk about, like, you're talking about different one. You're talking about like everything's like tied together. Those people, the Bushes and Rothschilds. I was just saying like different conspiracies for Hitler, the anti-smoking campaign, supposedly as well because of his, the doctors and his experiments and like, I don't know if it's maybe it was in Auschwitz. When they're doing those medical experiments, supposedly if it wasn't for him, we would know the limits of the body, limitations of the body.
Oh, he did a lot of they authorized a lot of really fucked up experiments on people.
But if it wasn't,
but it advanced our knowledge of human anatomy.
Right, exactly. And so like as fucked up as Hitler was, like I don't know how to say it, but like I don't want to say grateful. Like that's fucked up to say, but like. We learned a lot from that.
We took a negative thing and turned
it into a positive thing. Yeah, that's basically what it is.
You can look at. I mean, you can pull the positive out of a lot of things, but
yeah,
I mean
that's
the good does not outweigh the bad in that situation.
Right,
right.
It's but it that's. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to put it, but it's just. It's good to know. We know what the limitations of the body and like anatomy of the body, like you're saying. Like just
we would have never done any of that shit.
Yeah, that wouldn't fucking fly.
You know what I mean? So that's
unfortunately that sacrifice, like that's just unfortunate. But learned a lot from there. But yeah, people are. It's kind of hard to talk about to certain people because they're uneasy or like, nah, that's not true. It's like I don't know. Like do your research on history because.
Well, that's the problem is that people. The problem is that people grasp on to a very large concept and view of history,
like mainstream, like what they.
Well, you grasp onto the talking points. Basically, you grasp on Germany, Hitler, World War II, Japan, atomic bombs. And they forget the details, and the details don't get passed on, and they get muddled with time. And that's where you get into, I mean this can be a whole nother discussion, but I mean you get into, how does that affect our ideologies as a society and a culture in America today? I mean how does that affect, the whole I don't put the blinders on by I don't want to know what's going on I'm better, ignorance is bliss kind of thing.
Well, that's actually the best way to put it for like a lot of things. How it is nowadays, like because I don't want to say because everybody's like, everybody's whining and this and no. You said it best. I forgot about that. That's above top secret's like motto. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
And there's a fucking
alien.
It shows a picture of an alien. Dressed in a suit and a bunch of people in a party. It looks like in the 1950s. We're all having a good time and like an alien is doing a toast and it says ignorance is bliss underneath it. And that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going on.
And that's what they try to convince you of because they muddle the details and they call the people who find out the truth, they call them crazy and they call them crackpots. And when somebody's I mean,
it goes against the norm. Basically, is what it is. You know,
it's that herd mentality. Don't disturb the herd. But I mean, when somebody says to you, "Oh, I believe that aliens exist," and your immediate reaction is, "This fucking guy's crazy. Why would you believe aliens exist? Why would you?" I'll take it. Top me off, baby.
Pally, yeah.
Why would you not believe that aliens exist?
Yeah.
How can you seriously know what you know? What any normal person knows, minus like flat earthers or whatever.
Right.
Like,
I can't. Oh my god. I've seen those on YouTube and shit like
so
whatever. Yeah.
How can you not? How can you look at the night sky and look through a telescope and see that there's all these planets and galaxies and think that
we're
our
only
planet
one,
is unique, that this planet happened to spawn life and create shit like iPhones? Come on.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it's ignorance.
Yeah, big time.
You know,
well, we may not have anybody within our reach, but I believe there definitely is out there far enough to where, well, it's like I said, it may not be within our reach, but they're well, maybe not, because I think we have been visited. And hell, I think we're occupied. I think they are here. We just don't know.
Here, do you think there are the gray image that media portrays that they?
No, I think it's reptiles from another dimension.
Yeah, well, they're the ones that live underneath the ground and shit. No, I've heard this before, like the reptilian race and all that shit. And they're underground. Yeah,
there is
they feed on us too.
It's kind of weird, but there's a whole. I don't know if this is gonna dive us off the deep end right there. But
I was gonna top you, but go ahead.
But aliens, Giorgio Tsoukalos. Have you ever watched Ancient Aliens?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's got a
crazy hair guy.
Yeah. So he's got a
Ultra Cliff.
He's got an Ancient Alien special that he hosts the whole thing of, that talks about how far back, like, the serpent goes, like, every culture across the earth.
Oh, as like a demonic being or something like that?
Has worshipped the serpent at some point in time as being a knowledge bringer. Even if you read it correctly into Christianity.
Yeah.
I mean, not correctly, but if you read it from a different point of view, if you read the Bible, the serpent is the one that brings the fruit of life from the tree of life to Adam and Eve. The tree of knowledge, you could read it as the tree of knowledge, because before they're ignorant. Ignorant is bliss. They don't know. And then the serpent brings them the knowledge. You know what I mean? And that's, I mean, that's that you can look at that, and then from then on, the culture is portrayed as, oh, we were perfect in God's eyes, and blah 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 blah, caretakers of the garden before the serpent corrupted us.
Yeah.
Things like that. But there's, and I'm not, I just want to disclaim that I don't say that I believe this, but it's interesting to think about. And if you close your mind off to the possibility of things, that's how you end up. That's how you end up like a North Korean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to be open to the possibility, because if you don't absolutely 100% fucking know, then you can't say that you know. So I mean, if you don't know, then anyway, there's a lot of evidence that points to, like, oh man, all these every culture in the world has worshipped serpents in some way, shape, or form, all the way back to the earliest, very earliest civilizations. And why is that? And they were always viewed as the knowledge bringers. Yeah, things like that, and
they're always here too.
It's kind of similar to, like, with the whole, like, almost a lot of cultures are different religious. Or different religions, I'm sorry, like they have similar to what they the flooding of the world. Yeah, a lot of them have that same story,
even though they're not connected.
Yeah, exactly. What's up with that? Like that's crazy. I mean,
but that goes back to, like, so I'm gonna play the devil's advocate on that.
Oh, here we go.
So there's a lot of cultures that have that myth. Story, mythology about the flooding of the earth and the eradication of the people, and for whatever reason. And if you tie that into every culture in the world has built pyramids, you're like, oh, well, how could every culture in the world have similar structure?
I was about to get to that right now, actually. That's fucking crazy.
Well,
fucking aliens.
If you think about it, let me just play the devil's advocate on it like this. Maybe a pyramid is just the best way to fucking stack rocks to get it high when you don't have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So could you possibly have the same conclusion. Like if
will they all look alike though? Like as far as scattered rocks stacked up. I mean,
well, let's think about it like this. Let's think about it like this. If you've got 5 people in different corners of the world working on the exact same concept, unproven idea or concept, and you compare them all at the end, if all of them come to a conclusion at some point, how similar will the answers be?
That's good.
Good point.
Yeah.
Now, how they got there, that's a totally different story.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? The design concept of each one is, but and that goes back to the flooding of the world thing.
Yeah.
You're talking about a culture who had no idea what was across the ocean. The sea was a very scary place.
Yeah.
You know,
different cultures.
That's a damn good point, Rob. You're pissing me off now because that is a good point. Because I'm driving down Tanner and I see this construction or this landscaping business that sells gravel, and if you look at it, that gravel's all like in a pyramid form because they just dump all this crap.
Yeah,
that's nice, man.
It's just trial and error, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and that's you
true,
go. Primitive man looks for a way to describe or explain the phenomenon around them without having an actual explanation.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Devil's Advocate, explain the Starman, I guess in Peru that you can only see. It can only be seen from a.
That's a great one. I love that, and I don't have an explanation for it, and that's
the
from
the sky,
part.
right?
Yeah, you can only see it from the sky,
aerial view. In other words,
yeah. I like the fact that...
And it looks like an alien. It has like a helmet with big eyes.
I like the fact that ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs show very, very obvious mechanical machinery.
Yeah, and space.
And even ancient Hindu and in India, you know, ancient manuscripts like the Bhagavad Gita, they show and talk about things that are described as very, very mechanical sounding and very futuristic, or things that... You know what I mean? They talk about all these things that if you read them and you talk to, you know, if you go back and read like some of these myths and you start reading in between the lines of what you're talking about, you know what I mean? Like it's like you talk about like weather seeding and stuff like that. Go back to the ancient Greeks, how they believed that Apollo was the god of the sun and he drove a chariot across the sky and brought night. You know, if you start reading between the lines on things, you know,
I thought Apollo was moon.
You're correct.
Good catch. Oh, you have failed, sir.
Anyway,
Secret for Apollo. Come on,
you get
Apollo.
Yeah,
Secret for Apollo. You're right. Yeah.
So
okay,
I mean, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You start reading
like Ezekiel in the Bible. Ezekiel was
burgers. Hamburgers.
The story of Ezekiel. There was a chariot coming from across the night sky, and it was a burning chariot, and apparently it could have been screwed as a ship or
I mean, there's the way. I mean, if you go back and there a lot of these ancient alien conspiracy theorists, the way they explain it is like if you go back and put yourself in the mindset of a person, if you can imagine taking everything that you've learned out of your mind and putting yourself into a person of that time and seeing this, how would you describe it?
Yeah,
like,
you're
limited. Your worldview and what you have to compare things to is extremely limited.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
How would you describe? You describe it as what you know.
Right.
So you use compare and contrast theories and compare and contrast statements.
Basically, like putting things to the test and documentation, whatever they got. That's only like references they got, whatever they know, and I mean that's all you can go off of.
So
that's what you know.
Based on what you stated, like ancient Mayans, there's stuff that they found that was mechanical, right? Would you say that it's possible that based off that, rooting upwards, that civilization would advance as what we are today, and then we somehow destroyed ourselves during that era, and now we're starting all over again?
I don't know. Like, but see, that's the thing too. Like, because you say this mechanical, like, what did they know would be mechanical? Like, to what we know is mechanical. How would they know? Like, I mean, like, there could be a primitive form to it, but like the way that I could see them describing it is like really far in advance. Like, I'm just trying to see because basically what. Just basically,
okay, maybe different forms of mechanical because I mean,
like if you were an ancient Aztec, if you were an Aztec Indian, and somebody pulled up in a fucking Volkswagen, how would you describe that?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, because basic psychology, like every day, what we do, like we put things to the test, and we do things trial and error, and we, sometimes we document, sometimes we don't. We just put, we memorize it or we don't, and we use things in the past from what we know. Mm-hmm. Exactly, like we keep saying, like our experiences and what we've done and all the other shit, and that's what I'm trying to say. So I'm not trying to call you out or anything. I'm just saying,
no, you're not calling me out.
Well, how would they? Well, consider mechanical at the time, like.
No, what I'm trying to say.
Then again, like he's saying his whole.
Maybe
point
it's a different
too.
form, because if it wasn't for Ben Franklin discovering electricity,
whoa, that's a whole.
Okay, no, I guess you're right, but I'm trying.
Yeah,
what I'm trying
Tom
to say
Sizemore created the greatest laugh
ever. What I'm trying to say.
Whoa, no.
What I'm trying to say is that we depend on electricity, okay?
Yeah.
And it seems like our form of technology advanced based around electricity.
Yeah.
Now, if these primitive Indians,
have
a different form of technology, and they ran with it, and they became as advanced as we are today in their eyes. But they may have just, it came to a point where it's short. So, I mean, we're using our technology. I've seen these lights on this mixer here, and it's based around electricity.
Yeah.
And that's how we advance ourselves in this form. I'm just trying to say, like, they're advanced.
Okay, now I see what you mean.
It was in a different form.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Kind of like the city of Atlantis. Like,
I guess you could say that. Yeah, exactly.
Suppose the story, that's how it is, I believe. Or didn't they get destroyed by, was it environment or was it weather or some shit? I don't know. Or they became too advanced that they... I forgot that Homer's
kind of
like
how we're going to be. We're too advanced.
I always mean to read that. Homer's fucking...
the Odyssey or the Iliad? The Iliad.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, because the Odyssey is the story of...
Right, now that's like...
the Trojan War.
Yeah, and not that,
and Odysseus coming back to...
Yeah, Oh Brother Art Thou, yeah. You stole my... Oh, no, that's a different movie.
Troy.
No, Brother Where Art Thou is based on the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. It says it at the very beginning of the movie.
Yes, it does, yeah. That's how I know it.
The blind guy on the cart, that's supposed to be Homer, the blind prophet, and they're...
sexy.
John Goodman is the Cyclops.
Yes.
There's all kinds... Yeah.
Fucking frog is fucked up.
Ain't nothing in here but a goddamn toad.
Yeah,
nice,
toad. There we go.
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
fucking
Daddy likes.
fucking corn.
Daddy likes. That's the Coen brothers.
We loved
yeah.
you up and
Goddamn
turned you
Coen
into
brothers.
a horny toad.
Yeah. Go for it. I'm sorry. We gotta do is read right from my kid. I'm gonna kill you. I pressure with you, dim-witted some bitch.
I do have to admit, though,
this
format is awesome. I like the way the format of this podcast is going, for sure.
I don't.
I know you don't. You don't like anything.
I like this zero research, just
thinking like we know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. We sound like we know what we're talking about.
I guess I'm really. That's 100% I'm against. Really, I like to. Well, that's why I always like you said, disclaimer too.
I want
if I'm
somebody
paraphrasing,
to. I want
if
somebody.
I don't know, I'm going to say
fact
I don't
check
know.
us, please.
Yeah.
Because I would really like a couple of emails that I can ignore. I mean, I would.
You piece of shit.
But no,
Paul will
I
read them.
The thing is, though, we're not going to go off the train here and just give you false information. I think we know a little bit about.
Yeah, I mean, we've all read certain things. I mean,
like Paul and I know
giving
for
opinion.
Me,
excuse me, opinion based. Yeah, don't want to. Yeah, just say like this is straight up all true.
Exactly.
No. I always like to do my research on things, and I always like to say if I'm not familiar with it, I will, disclaim. I will tell you that I'm not too familiar with it.
Aspect of this, the segment of this show is like. That's why I brought you to Travis Walton, because I know that story. I know that conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky, yeah.
I'm going to watch
Great movie, man.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
I'll watch that right after I watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's a weird transition.
Transition, yeah.
From like happy aliens to mad aliens. I don't know, man.
I mean, I just got
aliens.
Poopa.
It's granddad.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of alien movies to watch. I've got Alien Covenant in the house I got to watch.
Did you get that? Oh wait, no. This is a while back. It hasn't came out yet, has it? On
what,
digital?
Alien Covenant?
No.
Guardians.
It came out next week, right?
It came out.
Yesterday.
Came out yesterday.
Yeah. It's for digital copy.
Caleb.
Yeah, I got it on
calling you out.
I got a thumb drive that I watched. I'm gonna watch.
What happened to a foot drive?
The foot drive, or dick drive.
I'm gonna get you a thumb drive shaped like a dick.
Yes,
that you can carry.
Dick Tracy on there. Hell yeah,
that's awesome. Awesome.
Uh-oh, there we
I told you it was gonna fall.
I got it.
That's what you get for fucking with it.
I love fucking with things.
You gotta push it in more.
No. It's the bottom screw.
You gotta push it. Yeah. It's a
There
bottom
you
screw.
go.
And you gotta push it in more.
Yeah.
That's what she
Unscrew
said.
the bottom screw.
What
and
she
then push
said
the
as
whole
well.
thing on. Paul's experiencing technical difficulties for our listening audience. There's only like 5 people listening to this, probably. 3 of them are us.
Yeah, 3 of them here, actually.
With the margin of 2% error or
I
whatever.
guess.
Yeah.
Or
We have
3%.
All I'm gonna say
one of my
is
daughter's nurses listens to the podcast, and then she's our 4th listener, and then I'll probably make my wife listen to this. That's 5.
I feel like
yeah.
I feel like a celebrity because, like I said earlier, she recognized my voice.
Yeah.
So like
you do have a very recognizable voice.
I do.
I guess that goes
That's cool.
a time traveler gig. Guess that's not happening.
This thing's being a son of a bitch. Is this why they do this? There we
No,
go.
I mean that's not why, but yeah, it can be.
I can be. Are you sexually active in the community? I can be.
Oh, man. That goes into the Paul and Jake's Urban Dictionary
Yeah.
of inside jokes.
Oh yeah.
It's like those memes. Like, are you sexually active? Well, I play Pokemon Go. It's like, no.
That's fucked up. I mean, that's probably right for a lot of people. Not me. I'm good.
No, I'm good.
I mean, that's not why I'm not sexually active because of Pokemon Go. So it's many other things.
Yeah, like the fact that you like John Mayer.
Man, talk about.
Shrimp.
Yeah,
over
let's
there.
talk
God.
about John Gayer and how you went to the concert.
Why are you ragging on Mayer, man? You know he's a
Fuck
great
that.
guitar
He's a
player,
guitar player.
man.
He's a
So what? Ron Jeremy's a great porn star. Doesn't mean I can't rag on him about it.
That guy fucks hard. Leave him alone. I was great. I had a good. I liked his.
Is he playing Fender guitars again?
I think so. It was hard to tell from the distance.
You know what's
but
a good
I
drinking
loved it
game?
when people died down when his trio band came out because it was more bluesy. People were like, "Oh, it's not mainstream." Like, fuck you. I was just laying down, kind of drunk, and just on the field. I was like, "Woohoo, yeah!" I was having a good time. I was just watching the stars, listening to play. It was great.
Bad City.
The Night Out or fuck, I forgot. They weren't too bad. But there's plenty of beautiful women there.
Okay.
It was hilarious because like
as
when we went there,
expected.
my friend Brandon was there and like he knew like God damn, he knew everybody, and this couple comes over like and sees us, we're sitting down like whatever, he knows them, like hey blah blah blah, and like he's like hey he's kind of like a little further away, I'm just sitting down where we're at, and he's like, yeah, I'm sitting with my friend Paul. I'm like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And his wife is like, his friend's wife is this beautiful Asian chick. And just gave me that, set of eyes for a second there.
Checking you out?
Yeah. And so.
Did you go jerk off in the bathroom?
No,
after
I
that?
didn't. I
Yes,
didn't.
you did.
I waited. I'm a gentleman.
I waited till I
I'm a
got
gentleman. I
home.
waited till I got home. Yeah, exactly. So they said like they're like, well, like they had some chairs and like there's people behind us already. Like, well, we're gonna go, sit over here. I think they'll get mad because we got chairs. I was like, no, it's cool. I asked them earlier. They're cool with it. I was gonna get some chairs, but they're okay with it. It's like I asked them again, so they're cool with it. So they sat down. So like I said, I'm on one end, then my friend Brandon, then his guy friend, and then the guy's wife at the other end. Complete opposite for me. Whatever. I'm not gonna do anything. They're fucking, they're together. Whatever. I'm not.
Should have.
I'm not a douche like that. But I kind of tell like I was, talking whatever, and it's like she was kind of like talking to me from a distance, whatever, and just she was like, okay, whatever, and anyway, and I asked, I was kind of leaning back, and then it was Brandon's friend, the guy friend was, visible, like, hey, so it's like, how do you guys know each other? It's like, oh, we're married.
Oh, it's very stern like that?
Yeah, like he was hostile, like, it was like, no, man, I'm talking about you and Brandon. And it's like, damn, man.
Nice.
I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not. I was like, I wouldn't do that. Like, I know you guys are together. I'm not a douchebag.
Yes.
I would have
taken security
Get
issues.
your wife
taken
on a
that.
leash.
I would have taken that as a compliment.
Yeah.
He saw you as a threat.
Yeah,
He
he
did.
did.
Yeah.
He really did. And then, like, towards the end, like, before we left, she was like, I don't know. Like, it was just kind of weird. Like, it's like, okay. Like, she was kind of flirting. I was just the way it was just weird. Like, and then. I don't know.
for
Like, I'm backed away. It's like I'm not doing anything. I'm just here with my hair down. What do you want from me?
It's just me and my hair. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. What do you want from me?
Like it's a whole nother person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the hair doing
The
it.
hair is
not
my
me.
wingman.
Yeah, that's all I need. Yeah.
Nice.
But basically, that happens all the
nice.
fucking time. I'm like, I didn't do anything. But yeah, he was just the hostility. Like, oh, we're married. Like, damn, buddy. Like, I'm just.
Nice.
I'm asking you.
It's
how
like,
do you know
damn,
my
there's
friend
people that
Brent?
swing that way. I'm just wondering how far I can go with this.
That's fucked up, man.
All right, man. For real, next time John Mayer comes, we should all go.
Next time John Mayer
that-
comes, you
Make fun
can
of
go
me.
fuck yourself.
No,
I'm
I
not
say
going.
the reason I say that
I
is
had fun,
because
though.
I say
really
we
did.
all get beers, and we have a drinking game. And see
Every
how
time he
many
says body,
no.
we drink.
Now, every time he makes a face while he sings, we drink.
That's every.
That's like all the time.
Nah, but he says body a lot
What
too.
is it,
Body.
body. The
Body.
fun party.
Body, fun
party.
body, body.
Nice.
The only piece of trivia, I know trivia about everything. The
No,
only
you
piece
don't.
of trivia that I know about John
you
Mayer
fucking
is
Until
that
you
he
shave that
wrote-
beard, you go brainless.
Oh, yeah. It's all in the beard.
Just like I'm on the hair, yeah.
The only bit of trivia I know about John Mayer is the fact that he wrote Your Body is a Wonderland about Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Ah,
Oh,
that's
really?
right.
Yeah.
They did. Ooh, I bet it was.
Damn, he
That
had
is-
all the trim. He had Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Hewitt. Who else?
What's-
Taylor Swift.
What's
I
her
think?
name?
Oh, yeah, he did
yeah.
date Taylor Swift.
And what's her
huh?
name? Baby
To
Five
go
to
from
work.
Jennifer Love Hewitt to like
Katy
Taylor
Perry.
Swift.
Katy Perry.
No,
Yeah.
he didn't.
Yes, he
date
did.
Katy
Yes, he
Perry.
did.
I'm looking that up.
Look it up, baby.
I wouldn't surprise me, man. Maybe you're a
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either, but I don't believe it.
Yeah,
John
I'll
Mayer.
bang the shit out of Katy Perry. Well, no, I'll make love.
Holy
Did they play
shit,
City
they
Love?
Did
I told
they
you.
did? What do you follow his career?
No, I know that because
Did he play
I,
City Love or no?
I
Did he play Night Moves?
Yes or no? Come
No,
on, baby.
the
Did he give
night
me?
moves and played? No, I was waiting for the Jacob version.
That's our intro song.
Squirted.
That's our fucking intro song right there.
He squirted one time. Ah, damn. I'm fucking pulling it up right now, goddammit.
So I take it that he did not play that song.
No, man.
That
Fucking traitor.
two-timing,
He played
yellow
Neon.
belly.
Two-timing son of a bitch.
He played Neon, which is badass.
Yeah, that's a
Acoustic.
hard song. Acoustic? Nice.
Yeah,
Hey, nice, John Mayer. City Love, baby.
That's all he should have done. That's a panty dropper right there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh.
The video is called Raph Loves Carpet.
That's on YouTube.
That's on YouTube.
Oh my god.
German No Class
Raph
logo,
loves
too.
carpet.
Oh, is it on our page? Like our
well,
YouTube channel?
Well, it's actually locked, so we know technically we don't have one. We're
gonna get one,
We need to
actually.
remake. We need to
We're gonna
make
get
one
one.
because that was on a very nice Raphael production. Of a video, YouTube, and I got my own thing, but I could have swore I think I did make one. I did, but I just haven't. We haven't put anything
Unleashed
up.
it.
We should probably put the podcast on there too as well, and also future too. Like I'd like to have. I'm gonna bring my camera.
Yeah,
we can
set
do
it
like
up.
highlights and like best ofs or
Just
something.
throw
and I
every
can
the
edit it and
episode
then,
on there.
for
Yeah,
each
it's like
episode.
not the whole 5-hour episode that we're
that's what
doing
I'm saying,
right now.
like
but
highlights,
Yeah.
like maybe best ofs. I'm gonna
It'll
dictate
be a very
that 'cause
short
I'm
video.
editing it. Yeah, right. Only me.
30 seconds.
Only
would
focus
that
on
editing
me.
have any
Only the
squirrely
best
in there?
of me.
It'll be like 45 seconds and like 25 of that is Paul putting his hair in a ponytail.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking-
Hell yeah, I win. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a strong first episode, guys.
Yeah,
I
I
think
really,
so.
I really have to piss so bad.
Oh yeah. Okay. So we're gonna wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Till next time, guys. Check out our Facebook.
Yeah, keep getting us views. I
Yeah,
don't know
we
who
need
these
some
mysterious
clicks on
views
there,
are.
man.
These
The
clicks,
clicks.
yeah.
We love the clicks.
And the next episode will web address drop to YouTube. So
Just keep it going. Make him piss his pants.
Fuck you, man. God damn it, guys.
until next time, guys. I'm Jake.
Yes, and I'm Paul.
I'm Rob.
This is Gentleman No Class.
Hoorah.
Nice. Good one, guys. Dang, only one beer? You need a piss?
Two, man. I was drinking a cup.